Hello and welcome to this video on Cubasis. Today I would like to show you a great new feature that we've built into Cubasis. It's automation. If you're not familiar with automation yet, automation basically helps you to create dynamic mixes. It means that you can alter many parameters in Cubasis over time, and when you play it back, Cubasis will automatically reproduce whatever changes you have done. So let me start by playing this loop one time so you can hear what we'll be working on. Okay, so far this project doesn't contain any automation, so any parameters I've set, for example, the volume and the mixer, panning, etc., they will just stay static no matter where I am in the project. Now let's change that. The first thing I would like to do is work on the guitars. And what I would like is that the guitars don't play throughout the entire loop, but rather that they play only certain portions of the loop. So let's get to one of the easiest ways to automate. I will simply automate the mute button now, and for now let's focus on just one track, the one I've already selected. Please take a look on the left-hand side of the Cubasis window where we have all those options in the inspector. There's a new one called automation. And right now it's empty. You will see later on what it looks like if we actually automated something. Just below automation we have channel. And that's where I find two new buttons. One called R for read and another one W for write. Right now we'd like to write automation, so I will tap the write button. You will see that it's now enabled, and also for automation, you can see that it's now also colored in red. To actually start the automation process, I simply press on the play button. Now don't be confused here. We will not press the record button because we don't actually want to record any material onto audio tracks or MIDI tracks. What we want to do is listen to whatever we've recorded onto the tracks and alter certain parameters while we're listening to it. So let me start the procedure by just pressing on the play button, and what I would like to do is have the guitar come in only after a few bars. So right after I press play, I will simply hit the mute button. So for now the guitar will be muted. And so we can hear it a little bit better, I will mute the other guitar. Now I haven't write enabled this track, as you can see right here, so this mute button will not be written into the automation. I think you noticed that after bar 7 I pressed on the mute button again, and this time we're actually writing automation because the track is write enabled. And if I now go back, I don't have to go all the way back the track, but let's go to bar 5 for example. And you can see that Cubasis automatically switches on the mute button because we've written automation. Now I can actually disable the write button for this track. And we're now in read mode, which means that any parameters we've automated will now be read and reproduced when we press play. Okay, so this was the first way to write and read automation, but of course there are many more possibilities. Let me tap on automation and you can see that now we actually have something mentioned there, mute, and it's turned on. If I turn it off, it won't be read, even though if I read enable the entire track. So I can disable certain parameters if I don't want to use them, don't want to listen them at the moment. Let me turn it back on and press on the little E, and this brings up the automation editor. This is where I can actually see whatever I have automated, and I can also edit it, and I can even draw automation in there. As you can see, I didn't quite make it in time to unmute the guitar track, as we're a little bit past bar 7. So to change the parameter, I simply tap on it, and now it's selected, it's white, and I can simply move it around. And I will just place it exactly on bar 7, so that the guitar is actually unmuted as soon as we hit bar 7. Now mute is a rather simple parameter to automate, it's basically on or off. Let's look at something a bit more complicated. Let me actually tap reset all, and let me close the editor for now. What I would like to do now is have the guitar play at bar 3 for just a very short time, then basically fade out and fade in again at bar 7. So let me go back to the beginning of the loop, and this time I will do this in the mixer. As you can see, you also have read and write buttons in the mixer. You can read and write enable any tracks you like. And if you look the far right side of the mixer, you also have read and write buttons along with mute, solo, etc., where you can read and write enable all the tracks in your project at once. So if I want to read enable all tracks, I simply press on the R on the far right hand side, and you can see all the tracks are now read enabled. To disable it, I simply tap again. Okay. As I mentioned, I would like to automate the volume now. So let me write enable the track again. We're at the beginning of the project. I press play again, and then I will simply touch and move the fader the way I want to. Okay, let me disable the write button just so we make sure that we don't accidentally write any automation to this track. And then let me actually jump to the editor by simply pressing on the right hand side of the mixer, little automation editor button. And we can instantly see our volume automation. And as you can see, we have a lot of values here. This can be nice if you want to do a very detailed automation, but for most cases, we don't need that many values to actually reproduce what we want to hear. So let me introduce you to a function in Cubasis. Simply tap on where it says track 5 volume, and you'll get some tools. I've already shown you that if you tap on one value, it will be highlighted. Of course, you can tap on more than one, but I want to select all of them. And one easy way to do that is actually double tapping. And you can see that all of them are now colored in white, and they are all selected. And on the left-hand side, I have a function called reduce, and will basically get rid of any values that I don't really need to reproduce this kind of automation curve. So I tap on reduce, and you can do that more than once. So let me tap reduce again. And maybe now I'm satisfied. That's okay. If I'm not, I can always press undo and start all over. Okay, so we've reduced the number of values, makes it a lot easier to edit, and also save some resources on your iPad. Just tap anywhere to actually deselect any values you have selected. And let me alter this one value, because I would like to have the volume up at exactly bar 7. We have 2 tracks in the project, same guitar. Okay, you might have noticed that I muted one of the guitar tracks, and this guitar track is actually a double guitar. It's basically the same guitar as on track 5, just recorded again to get a wider and richer sound. And now I would like to have the same kind of volume automation on track number 6 as I have on track number 5. And this is very easy in Cubasis. All you need to do is in the automation editor, double tap to select all values or select individual values, whatever you prefer. And then on the upper toolbar, go to copy, just tap on copy. Now let's go to track number 6. And let me actually unmute it so we can hear it later on. And track number 6 doesn't have any automation yet. And I will simply paste this automation that I just copied from track number 5. And now it's on track number 6 as well. Let me actually zoom in a little bit so we can see it a little bit better. Okay, so same automation on track number 5 and track number 6. Now let's listen to the loop with the automation for the volume on the 2 guitar tracks. Now let me close the automation editor. Let me go to a different track. This one right here, track number 9. This is the micrologue playing a bass sound. Right now it doesn't have any automation. It sounds like this. Now let me jump to the micrologue. And we're on the filter page, one right here. Now I would like to automate the cutoff parameter of the filter. And you may have already noticed you have the same read and write button and also the automation editor button on the upper right corner of the micrologue instrument. So if I want to automate it, all I have to do is simply tap on the right button. It's write enabled. And now I can just start the playback again and actually move the cutoff parameter. Okay, let's turn off right. And this automation has now, of course, also been recorded in Cubasis. You can also see that if I tap along the timeline, how the parameter changes over time. Okay, great. Now let me show you another way to automate in Cubasis. This time I will use an insert effect. So let me close the microlog. Let me actually go to the automation editor for just a second. And let's actually, well, reset everything. And now I would like to achieve kind of a similar effect on this track by using an insert effect, which you can of course use on any other track. And for that I will use the filter, this one right here. Let me actually listen to the sound for just a second. Okay, so same procedure as before. I'll tap on the right button, start the playback, and then start to move the filter. Okay, let's have a look at the automation. Again, we have a lot of parameters. Just use them a little bit. And by tapping on where it says track 9 filter frequency, I can also select any other automation parameters. Because it's a two-dimensional filter, we were automating frequency and resonance at the same time. So let me go to resonance and again say reduce. And you can see that, for example, if I don't like the resonance sound around bar 4 and 5, I can simply select and then move the automation. And because I don't want to move them in time, I will tap and hold the vertical move button on the left hand side. And now I can just move it up and down, just like this, without actually having the problem that I might actually move it also from left to right, meaning moving it in time. So let me just reduce the resonance right here. And I'm done. You might have already noticed this fader on the far right-hand side of the automation editor. That's actually quite useful. So if I want to automate a parameter, and I don't want to do that on the actual instrument or effect, for example, I can also, for example, go to the overdrive, which is another insert I have in the insert effects on this track. And I can right enable the automation again. And now if I press play, let me actually solo the track for that, I can use the fader on the right hand side to also automate this parameter. So on and so forth. Now we have automated the overdrive as well. So you can see using this fader is actually quite handy. You can do everything in the automation editor without having to jump to the effect or instrument, for example. by the way, if you want to actually see the related insert effect in this case, you can simply tap on the lower left-hand corner just to the right of the read and write button. There's an arrow pointing to the left. Tap on it, it will take you to the corresponding insert effect or other parameter that you're automating. Okay, let's go back. Simply click on the automation editor button again. We're back at the parameter, and I will just reset it for now and close the automation editor. Now let's unsolo the track and scroll up to the top, and let's have a look at track number 1, the drum kit. Another great new thing you can do in Cubasis now is actually work with MIDI control changes. So let me double tap on the rock beat event. You already know this portion of it, where you can actually edit, enter notes, etc. And at the bottom, we now have quite a few more options, as you can see, all those control changes. And to wrap this video up, I would now like to alter the Pitchmen parameter. Now what we have here is an instrument track, so we have MIDI notes on the track and the Alan Morgan rock hit number 2, played by the microsonic. And if I now use the Pitchmen parameter, I will actually pitch the individual drums. Now this can be quite a cool effect for breaks in the song, for example. And I would like to do that at bar 10 to 11. So I have the Pitchmen parameter selected. You can see velocity. Of course, we already have a lot of values for pitchbend. We don't have any right now. And let me just scale it a little bit. Now I can use the upper toolbar and use the draw tool to actually draw pitch bend changes right here in the editor. So as I mentioned, bar number 10 to 11. And let's actually move this to the right position. Right here. So we start with a pitch bend of 0, so the drum sounds will sound the way they are by default in the microsonic. And then starting at bar 10, we will actually drop the pitch, and then at bar 11 we're back up again. So let's start at maybe bar 6. Let me actually go to the mixer in the project, press solo for this track. And then let's listen to what happens. Okay, good. Let me close the editor, unsolo the track, let's go back to the beginning of the project, and let's listen to the loop with all the automation we have done so far, plus the MIDI control changes. Okay, thanks a lot for watching, thanks a lot for listening, and as always, have fun making music, have fun using Cubasis, and until next time, bye bye.